What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode we're gonna work on the transmission. So on the previous video you saw this. Painted the engine bay, got all my tubing powder coated orange, and then I said I was gonna work on this guy. So what we have here is, this is a stock transmission, right? Nothing to it, 100% stock. Inside, I mean, I do got some little stuff here and there. The counterweight there, and the clutch master clutch. But inside is 100% bone stock. So what we're gonna do is, I bought some. Hold on, let me show you. There you go. So I got the brass pads for the forks from Speed Solution. We're gonna install those. And then I also have the final drive for the transmission. So it's gonna change the gear ratio to a 3.6. So it's gonna extend the gears, allow me to go more miles per hour. In theory, we'll see if we get there, because there are all the factors to it, like aerodynamics and resistance, all that BS. But in theory, it should go up to 250 miles an hour in 6th gear, which not even thinking about getting up there. That's out of the question. But the gears are longer, it's only half a mile, so I figure it will help me out. So that's the plan. We're also gonna clean it up, clean the hell out of it. Look at this thing. That's really disgusting there. So we're gonna clean everything real nice, and we're gonna spray it. I saw some pictures online on people powder coating the transmissions, and I think it looks pretty good. So I'm not gonna do powder coating though, because it's got some rubber seals and other stuff inside that I'm not gonna mess with. So I'm just gonna spray some paint on it, and hopefully I don't scratch it mounting it on the engine. So stay tuned, sit along for the ride, and see how this thing come out. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna start removing is all the accessories on the outside. So all these cables, all these extra bolts here and there, these right here, these two. So all the stuff around the cage. All right, flipping the tranny over, we're gonna go ahead and remove the throttle bearing. I'm gonna go ahead and replace this guy anyways, since I got it apart. It's a good idea to put it brand new, just to, you know, get rid of any future headaches. And then these, it's got like a metal retainer. Just pull it apart, and that's it. So guys, you pull them apart to undo it from that ball right there. Alright, so now we can go ahead and start taking off the bolts down here. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and now remove the shifter. Alright, so now that the shifter is removed, we can go ahead and start taking some of this stuff out up here. Let me show you. So you have to remove this big guy right here. There's a retaining clip inside that we need to undo. So most of you guys are not gonna have a tool that big. I don't. But what I use is this, and it works great. You just gotta hold it really damn tight, right? And yank it, and then it's not gonna put any markings on it as long as you hold it really tight before you start moving. And yeah, either that or go get a tool that big for one-time use. See? Those are the two retaining clips on the inside. That one, C-clips. So those are holding the two gear stacks. Once you undo them, it just drops down. All right, next up is this guy. That one holds the reverse. I think that's the one. It goes all the way through and holds the reverse gear. Yeah, this is the one. So when you're putting everything back up, you gotta make sure that that gear stack is facing this way. It has like a little hole in it. It's facing this way for this guy to hold it in place. If not, you're gonna have to take everything back apart. Alrighty, so that's what it looks like inside. Another thing I want to point out here, you gotta make sure that all this is in neutral. When you take the shifter out, this stuff tends to move up and down as you're wiggling it out. So you gotta get a long screwdriver and make sure that all these guys are in neutral. So they gotta be aligned all the way through and in the center, because otherwise you could get some of these guys out of, there are some bearings with a spring holding it in place, the synchros. You can push them out as you're pulling the case out, and they'll go flying everywhere and you're gonna have a bad day. So another thing, when you're pulling the case out, just take your time, make sure you're not, you know, binding on anything and pulling it up, because I'm telling you, you're gonna get some of this stuff, the synchros out of alignment, and then everything's gonna start shooting out. Okay, so now that I got these to this part, I'm gonna start removing a bunch of stuff from here. Let's see, I think I'm gonna start with these guys right here. They got two here and some more on the other side over there. Take those out. They got a ball inside and a spring. Those gotta come out, so that's gonna free up these rods. And then after that, we're gonna start undoing some of these bolts that hold that in place. Make sure you take a lot of pictures, by the way, just so you don't have a problem putting it back in. Alright, this is the magnet. So you can see, full of metal shavings from all those times I grinded my gears. And then we gotta remove that one right there and that one back here. Those hold the stacks from coming off. These are the little balls that I was telling you guys. Alright, this side is a little different because it's got pins holding these two instead of bolts. So we're gonna remove those out. Now there might be another way of doing this, but this is the way I know how to do it. It's removing those pins so you disassemble everything and then everything just comes out. Alright, so here are the pins that I'm talking about. This is what it looks like. There is this C-clip holding. This is the one, and it's holding this little guy. Put those outside. Now we can go ahead and take this piece out and this other guy out. Alright, so this is what the transmission looks like all taken apart. Now some of this stuff we don't need to mess with, like that bearing right there, that one. Leave those be. Same thing with the ones in here. Now we just gotta make sure we don't drop any of those ball bearings. Everything is looking pretty good. I mean, there was a lot of metal shavings, but the gears themselves look pretty good. That's the other half. Out the casing again. You don't need to mess with any of these. If you want, you can remove this plastic piece. I believe that's for oil. That just clips in place. You can just looks like it's cracked there. That's interesting. It's got a crack in there. But yeah, it just unclips and you pull it out in case you don't want to lose it. Let's take a look at this thing. So yeah, I was looking at the diff and it looks pretty good. No visible damage to it. So yeah, so it looks pretty good. I'm gonna double check their gear when time comes around. It says 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is third gear. And the gear itself looks good. And the synchro is not half bad either. And this transmission's gotta take a beating, I'll tell you that much. Alright, so in that box right there, I got my two I guess you can call them stack or shaft. I don't know what's the name for this thing, but anyways, these two stay and it's got the shaft in it. So we gotta get all these gears out of that shaft and put it on the other one. Same thing with this one. So we gotta come out onto the new one. And then the rain gear on the diff, we gotta change it too, and then put everything back in. All right, so here's the first stack of gears that we're going to be working on. And the lighting is... we get better lighting from here. Yay! Okay. Alright, so this is the replacement shaft, and we're just going to put everything in the same way everything came out. Alright guys, sorry about that. I ran out of battery on the camera, but we're gonna move on to the diff now. Now what I was doing before that is this. So you can see it's pretty much done. I'll show when I'm doing the other guy, I'll show how you press it on the press, but for now we're gonna go ahead and do this. So the rain gear here, it's gotta come out. And it's got a bunch of bolts that you gotta undo all around and pull it out. All right, just like that, the diff is done. So I'm gonna keep on working on this guy. And right after that, we're gonna do the pads on the forks. All right, here's the new pinion for the other stack. We're gonna go ahead now and start assembling. Alright, just like that, this is done. So we're gonna go ahead now and move on to doing the fork pads. Alright, so with the pads installed, all we got left to do is go ahead and paint this guy and then assemble everything. Alright guys, well, I skipped the boring part for you guys. So spent a bunch of hours cleaning and taping everything up, and I went ahead and sprayed some self-adhesive primer on this thing. So now we're gonna go ahead and throw some color on it. Alright, well, I got everything back to where it's supposed to be. The paint is still a little soft, so I really shouldn't be doing this. because I'm peeling away some of the paint when I'm putting the bolts, but at the same time I don't want to keep on waiting. So yeah, I'm just gonna put the case on and then don't work on it edit again until tomorrow, where it's a little harder and you know it's not gonna scratch easy. Alright guys, so now that that is done, we're gonna go ahead and install the clutch on the engine. So I'm just gonna disassemble it, clean it up, and install it back in. Now this should still have enough meat in it. I think last time I saw it was still good. I'm gonna double check it anyway. Alright guys, so this thing is done. That right there, sorry I couldn't record putting the transmission on. My battery died on the camera and I couldn't wait, so I just went ahead and did it because I had a little bit of help. If you deal with the master transmission, you know it's heavy as hell. So I had some help, just installed it without recording it, and then I just threw in the alternator and what else I did here. The transmission mount, I had to give it some paint because the powder coating was peeling off. But yeah, she's ready. So in the next episode I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the interior here. I gotta take all these out again. All that comes out, the dash, the seat, and then I gotta scuff everything up and paint it. So that's gonna be on the next one. We're getting closer and closer. Once the interior is painted, I can go ahead and install the engine. And yeah, one step closer to having it run it. So I can't wait for that. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.